President and from the committee. That has not passed the required 75% majority, so the status quo will remain. Mike Tompkins will remain as President and a member of the committee. The vote was 161 votes in favour of his removal and 112 against, so a majority in favour but not a special majority of 75%, so the resolution doesn't carry. I'm going to be keeping all the proxies and the voting cards. If anyone wants to audit those or challenge those, I'll be able to arrange that, and I can give my details to both Mike and Leanne and Lauren as a legal officer. The second special resolution, that the committee be dissolved in its entirety, has been rejected, 266 votes to 6, so clearly a very strong rejection.
Thank you very much, Alex. That was very professionally done, and I have every faith in the process. I would like you to follow up on those proxies and review it, and thank you, Leanne, for doing all that. I think we've achieved a result that sounds like we can live with that. That's an acceptable voting procedure. Very difficult to achieve, so thank you, everybody, for doing that. That's well done. The question is, what now? We've got any other business section. And I was not in favour of, obviously, this whole evening. And I really, it begs the question now, what do we do next? Well, based on these votes passed, now is the time when I think it's appropriate for people to say, should I stay or should I go now? And I will certainly be staying on that basis of 161 to remove and 112 to not remove. It's a plain majority, but it is not in accordance with the rules. So there's quite a significant number of people who want me to stay as president. Mike Rockell would like to say a few words about that.
One of the things I said at resolution 2 was greater than 50% for the dissolution of the committee. I said that I would be resigning because that would be reflecting the will of the members of this association who have voted. And I think that when you have 161 votes out of a total of, that adds up to, I think it's a 59% vote from the members for you to be removed from office. So I think it's a reflection of the will of the members, and if I was in your shoes, I would do the honourable thing and I would resign.
Thank you, Mike, for that opinion. The rules are 75% majority is required because it's an extraordinary situation to remove a sitting president from office. And bearing in mind some of the activities that have gone on, not in my favour in the campaign, I would say that I will resolutely stay as president of ACAV, and I will not accept that. I've achieved a 41% of the vote of 273 people, whilst campaigning entirely on my own against a large group. So it's taken a large group of people to gather proxies against one person gathering proxies. So I think a 41% of the vote is a remarkable result in that circumstance when a 25% bar is required. So I'll be certainly staying as president. It remains for other individuals to consider their positions in the light of that. Certainly, resolution 2, 266 votes to remove and 6 votes against.
Other way.
Sorry, the other way around. Yes, the committee, the people don't want to spill the committee, and I voted in favour of that myself, and all the people that return votes to me on the basis of a no-no vote agree with that, so we don't want to remove the whole committee. But it remains to be seen. So I think the question we had before, who would like to leave on that basis? And would anybody like to change their answer? John, I wasn't asking you.
I've got a question to ask, though.
Okay.
Just given the fact that, as the committee have expressed, you have fully lost the vast majority of the committee's confidence, why, in these circumstances where you have been returned essentially by default by a failed membership vote, which is quite split, why would you consider yourself as so necessary to this process of the ACAV that you would consider staying and, from what I understand, continuing to impede the work of this very valuable working group?
John, you've asked me that question several times on Facebook and I've answered it. It's been asked to me
Respectfully,
already just now. It's the same question.
You haven't answered it, mate.
Well, I'm staying here because I believe 41% have voted for me in dire circumstances with significant...
I'm not asking about them. I'm asking about why you consider yourself to be the leader of this process when the very group of which you are a part has actually publicly and clearly stated that you're not.
Under the rules, John, that we're following, which is not your particular preference...
I'm not asking about the rules. I'm asking you personally, why do you think you're necessary to this process?
To this process?
Yeah.
Because I was elected as the president of the organisation.
Is there anyone that can do it?
Well, you can heckle if you like, but I'm just...
I think it's a very valid question.
It is a valid question, but I'd refer to possibly Alex as an independent arbiter on this. What do the rules say?
But I'm not
The
asking
rules
about,
are there for a
I'm
reason.
not asking you about the rules, actually, because you could voluntarily resign at any time.
I've been asked to resign many times, yes.
Yeah, and so given that, but that doesn't actually give you any information that might help you to make a good, strong decision on behalf of the ACAV.
We could go on all night, John.
But no, but you're just actually ignoring the actual question I'm asking you, which is that...
Ask the question again.
Well, I'll ask it in a slightly different way. Do you acknowledge that there is anything of substance in the material that's been brought to your attention by the rest of the committee which clearly states that this working group can't function with you as its head?
Are we going to go over the dirt files now?
No, I'm not. I'm asking you personally.
Is there anything of substance
Yeah.
in what the committee's saying against me? That's that whole series of allegations, of which there are, you know, the substance of that. We could be here all night. We've got to try and get a group together. I'm the president of this organisation.
If I was part of a group of people that were
You
trying
will
to
go
get the
on
job
all
done,
night, John. You've got to stop at some point.
Why?
It's your opinion, but we've only had 273 out of 1,600 members voting.
but again, that's not the substance of the question that I've put to you, which is, from my point of view, you've
The substance of
completely
your
dodged
question appears to
again.
be resign, Mike. And I'm saying to you, I will not resign.
I understand the question. The reality of the rules is that Mike he won't be removed under the special general meeting.
I understand that.
And I think he's answering the question in that he doesn't accept that the voting indicates he should step down.
But my question was why he considers he should stay in his position,
That would
given the
require
fact
the
that there's
whole
no
manifesto
confidence.
all over again, wouldn't it?
No.
You just don't agree with it, so it's the bus analogy.
You've made no material point.
There's someone else who would like to ask a question, John.
Please.
I'm just curious if the members of ACAV are voting in a committee, and then if the committee have a bit of a majority, and it was sort of brought up before about had there actually been, for example, a vote on whether you should apply to an SBA, and in that case you said there wasn't, which is fair enough. But if, given this sort of stalemate, this exact same situation was to be brought around, and the committee voted to continue and do the same thing we've had just tonight, would you accept having the committee being voted in by the members? And if they put forward a situation in which they thought was a different way to present the night, which gave more access of the truth to all of the committee, all the members of ACAV, would you agree also, since then voted in by the members of ACAV, to a different process that they may put forward for basically having the same thing occur again as tonight? Because what appears to me that we've come to a stalemate,
Yeah.
and if the same stalemate situation presented the exact same situation as tonight, and there was an alternative put forward by the committee, would you accept the alternative way to handle the evening?
The committee would have to have a meeting and take a vote on a new special general meeting to resolve this. You know, we'd be going around the same loops again.
Therefore, if the committee put forward a different way to have the special general meeting, would you accept that as well as being part
Well, the resolution could have been, do you want the president or do you want us 8 people to resign? That would have been probably a better resolution.
Can I
question, because I think like a serious process has been gone through and a result has been obtained. The next opportunity, if members wish to change the president, is at the AGM. But my question, and it's for you, Mike, and the committee, infighting like this, and this is what, from a personal perspective, this is what caused my reach out to Lauren as legal officer this week, the communications, the evidence that there's massive infighting in the organisation that should be carrying forward the cause that we all are very, very concerned about. This process has happened, result is here. That can't change until the AGM. I don't think there's any point speculating about it. It's not going to change, it's kind of obvious. What will you do as a group of leaders to reflect on the fact that this process has happened, reflect on the fact that it damages the cause that we all want to achieve, and how will you work together constructively? What kind of communications will you issue about how you will work over the next period until the next AGM when you'll either be returned or not? So it's a question for any committee member and also for the president.
Can I answer that? Something I thought about significantly in this whole process, which was never going to be ideal. There's some proposals that have been placed before me on a number of occasions, which include things such as specifying position descriptions, so basically in the chart indicating sort of where the working groups are within the committee, where the responsible officers are. That's just one of my proposals. Things such as codes of conduct for committee members, but these are things that I'll bring to the committee in which we can vote on to accept or reject as part of the way forward. And for all, well, personally for myself, there's other things that I need to think about and think about in a fairly strategic way, because that's, as a scientist, that's the only way I can make decisions by taking the information and trying to put together what I see as the best analysis.
So basically looking for the adoption of greater governance rigour at the committee level.
Correct.
So I think, until an AGM, we have to try and find those ways. Another thing that crosses my mind is, can an AGM be brought forward? And I actually don't know the answer to that.
No, financial records have to be included.
Simon, you have a question?
I don't know the answer to that question.
I just have a question about whether or not the disciplinary board action is going to continue, or if now you're going to try and work together in a more collaborative way. I mean, we don't really understand a huge amount about the disciplinary action that's been taken. So, yeah, can someone speak to that?
Well, there's no disciplinary action on foot at the moment. It's what we had brought is basically null and void because of a technicality that Mike picked up on. The SGM was already in place, so we decided to let the members come to the SGM to try and get the members to help us out really and resolve this urgent problem that we have, because if we want to proceed with our legal proceedings, we've just really got to get moving on this and work together. I can only speak for myself, and I would be recommending that we still bring disciplinary proceedings against Mike, because there are allegations that haven't been aired here, and fairly so. Like, Mike needs to be able to respond to those and to be heard by an independent panel. But this, I've kind of referred to it before, it's really about the culture we want in a leadership organisation in the planning community. It's, if we just continue to move like we're cats and need to be herded, and Mike's or any other person in this committee is making unilateral decisions that are critical to our strategy, whether it be long-term, mid-term, or even, comms going out that are really important that week, we really need to rein that in. And if somebody doesn't come to the party of their own accord, we really need to have those governance structures in place to do that, because we need to work on developing the right culture at ACAV, one that's representative and respectful of the membership. So I'd be wanting to bring that on. It's painful, it detracts from everything that we need to do and get on with, but it's something that's important. It hasn't gone away, it's still here.
Can I just speak to that question? The disciplinary action will not continue because I have an outstanding dispute against the ACAV committee, and I have a grievance procedure in place. And when a member has a grievance procedure in place, a disciplinary action cannot be taken against that member. Well, we can heckle that as much as you like, but that is not possible. It is not possible to create a disciplinary action against someone who has a grievance procedure for those very matters.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, mate, but I don't know what a grievance procedure is. Can you tell me what it is?
A grievance procedure is I have a complaint against the ACAV committee. I mentioned one incident earlier of a procedure that's being inappropriately followed. There is a long list of grievances that I have against the committee that are preventing me from carrying out the role of president. And I believe that I've been inappropriately silenced, inappropriately treated, and inappropriately shunned and cut off from communications. These things are not appropriate. I have this grievance in place, and while that grievance is in place, I'm afraid it's absolutely true you cannot run a disciplinary action against me in that circumstance.
What's the mechanism for a grievance complaint?
It's all under the Associations and Corporation Reform Act 2012,
Yep.
which is very similar to the rules of association that we have, which is our constitution.
Yep.
It's all laid out in those rules. You can see it on the ACAV website, and you can also see it on the Act itself.
So how would you resolve
So-
this grievance?
We're actually in the mediation phase. We've been through a 2-week negotiation phase. I had a meeting here a little while ago with various members of the committee that are here present tonight. We had a negotiation meeting. That did not result in a resolution to any of the dispute matters, and we moved on to a mediation phase. So an independent mediator will be appointed sometime after the holiday break, and we will be in mediation over my grievance, which is connected with a dispute that I have against the ACAV committee.
Is there
And that's all I'm prepared to say about it under legal privilege, unfortunately.
Is there a monetary impost on the ACAV for the conduction of the grievance complaint?
No. I
Who
don't
pays
believe
for the
so.
mediation?
No, I don't believe so. An independent mediator can be found that's voluntary.
Okay.
Kevin?
Just trying to get my head around the issue of transparency, and which I know you've been big on and the committee's been big on. I would have thought in an ideal world it would have been great to come to a special general meeting like this, having had the disciplinary hearing done and
Yes,
dusted,
Yes.
and then the independent arbiters could come along and say, we've heard these were the complaints, we've heard them, we think that they are of little substance, or we've given Mike a reprimand or something more serious.
That's
instead.
exactly the case.
At least in that situation, the membership, not just the few cognoscenti in the know, but the broader membership would have some idea of what the hell this shit fight's about, what the grievances are, whether they have substance, and then could do the sorts of things that we're doing tonight, have these votes on the resolutions in an informed manner. Now, for reasons I don't understand exactly, perhaps you can illuminate, you were not prepared to have the grievance committee happen before the general resolution, this meeting, and you had a right to do that because there was some technicality in it that hadn't been, the right information hadn't been given to you in time and so on. So you had that right, but I would have thought if you were into transparency, you would have liked to have that done and dusted, as I say, before people have to vote on it. A lot of people are kind of guessing and reading between lines as to what the hell they're voting on and why.
Unfortunately, that's locked away under privilege there. But you're absolutely right, Kevin. It would be correct to technically try someone first before having this event tonight, because then we could be talking about the issues concerned. However, I was not happy with the disciplinary procedure in the way it was set up and instigated by the committee, a group within the committee. There are members within the committee who would vote with me. This is about a voting block situation. So it's not a unanimous thing. There's just a majority issue that believe I should be disciplined. Now, that disciplinary procedure was improperly invoked, and there's now a grievance procedure that now prevents that further disciplinary action from taking. So the correct procedure from here is to have the grievance procedure play out through a mediator to get to some resolution at the end. So it's not trying me for the things that are disciplinary, it's tackling a similar number of things from the opposite approach. And I can't go into each individual allegation which has been made against me in the disciplinary and allegations I've made back again, because that's part of something that's been happening in a confidential manner. But it has to play out first. You can't have this situation based on a kangaroo court, which is what we have here tonight.
Can I just say, this is a quick yes/no, but the grievance committee, the grievance procedure that you have set in train, did that start after the initial scheduling of the disciplinary hearing?
The grievance procedure started when the first disciplinary procedure was cancelled, because you can't have a grievance procedure when there's a disciplinary procedure against you.
Right, so it
So
was
this is
cancelled, then the grievance committee,
That's
the
correct.
grievance procedure, which then blocks any further disciplinary
That's correct.
hearing. Thank you.
We have a different reading of our constitution, right? And that is, the constitution says that you can't take grievance action while a disciplinary proceeding is taking place against you, but there's nothing to say the vice versa applies.
Does ACAV take, does ACAV take advice on how the constitution is to be applied?
I've rung.
Consumer Affairs.
Krista?
Given that 95% of members have voted in support of the committee and the majority of members have voted that they've lost confidence in you, will you, outside of the leadership wrangling, will you follow the majority decisions and the advice of the committee that the members have clearly stated that they support?
In terms of committee questions?
In terms of everything that you do publicly or privately, will you follow the majority decisions of the committee and the advice of the committee?
Privately? If the committee say I can't take my wife out to dinner? What do you
In
mean?
ACAV related and climate
Okay.
related issues.
Essentially, the committee meetings are somewhat defunct at the moment because there's a block vote going on.
Well, people want you guys to get on with the job. They've voted for
I
you to
know,
get on with the job.
I know.
So how are you going to work with the committee?
Well, I believe that if committee members do not want to follow the purpose that we set up in the first place, and there are key
The members have
drivers.
said that they're happy with the committee, they're happy with the direction they're taking, so will you follow the majority
They're
decision?
not. It's not a majority vote tonight. This is a question on removing a president during a term of office.
And remove-
We've had the same question over and over again. Would anybody else like to come up? That's why it does appear to be a kangaroo court. We're following the rules, but people are disgruntled in this room. We should ask the whole membership maybe. Maybe we should have a referendum on it.
Mark's got a question.
No, I just had a comment regarding the whole concept of a block vote. Each of the committee members is an independent person, quite strongly minded and independent. If we decide to vote in a particular matter, that should not be considered a block. It's each person considering their representation of their members.
And all the members of the committee are bound by whatever is decided by the majority of the committee.
So yes, Krista, the answer to your question is I will abide by the committee decisions and let's see what the committee decides. Simon, you've just had one. Maybe, I think you had a hand up at the back there. No? Fine. Okay, Simon.
We're not super psyched on being referred to as a kangaroo court. I don't think I can speak for. People here.
Well-
But, so just that's a comment, not a question, Mike. How long until this grievance process is going to play out? Because everyone's making overtures, and there's been a question from the independent chair to the effect of how we're all going to get along and work together. So, how long until we members can see that the grievance process is played out and that any disciplinary action as a result of that grievance process is finalised? How long do we have to?
It could be a few months, I don't know.
Months.
Yeah.
And so nothing's going to happen in between?
Well, it depends what the committee decides.
So there's months before there could be a productive working relationship between the president and the
Well,
the
it's,
board.
this is why it does appear to be a kangaroo court, because...
That's not a, that's
Hang
a
on,
simple
hang on,
question,
Simon,
mate.
Simon. I'm being thrown questions at me over a vote that's been legitimate and it's set up for a reason.
I have not
okay?
I have not queried the results of the vote. I haven't asked you if you're going to quit. I haven't done any of those things.
No, you haven't done that one.
I have.
But there's a lot of... This is, quite similar to Facebook at the moment. And Facebook has, and the membership have returned, even in these dire circumstances where I pretty much haven't defended myself, still 41% want me to continue under the circumstances which I've described, which is some seriously inappropriate practices gone on. So
I'm sorry, Mike, but I think you misrepresent. I thought my question was not like a Facebook trolley rant at all. I thought it was quite a respectful request to understand how long the process is going to play out before
it's
we have
unknown,
it.
Simon.
You don't know.
It's unknown. It's likely to be months, not weeks,
Okay.
because we're just heading into the holiday season. But
Mike, how about you withdraw it? And then we can move on and try and build bridges and work together. Withdraw your grievance procedure.
why would I withdraw my grievance procedure when the committee has performed all sorts of actions against me which are completely inappropriate in a democratic situation?
This isn't about you, Mike. This is about us moving forward as a community.
I think it is very much about that, but I'm facing this kind of criticism, and I will face it all day and all night. We can be here till 3 a.m.
This isn't about you. This is about us.
This is about,
about
the
us
president.
all moving
this is
forward.
about the presidency and people voting, and we voted in accordance
It's about
with
the
the law.
climbing community, for crying out loud, and that's something that you
Well,
seem to be
if-
forgetting the whole way.
If you hound me out now, hounding somebody out under an inappropriate procedure, how is that right? And how is that right? How does that allow somebody to ever step into this role and be robust in the public domain?
I accept the vote tonight. I accept the
Well, I would like the room to accept the vote, please.
No,
We
but
do
what I'm
accept
saying
that.
is,
Well-
can you assist us in working together and building a way forward by withdrawing that grievance procedure so we can hit the ground running tomorrow?
Absolutely not. Not a chance.
Can I pose a question or a proposition? I think on the results of tonight, moving forward, because we all want to focus on the future.
Just move forward.
No, yes, hang on. So, can we have good faith on both sides, perhaps, and actually try and consider this as an opportunity to have a clean slate and try and start afresh and finish out the terms that we have until the next AGM and work together insofar as dropping both the grievance and the disciplinary hearing on all sides and just calling it quits of what's happened. And I think the frustration in the room is the fact that everyone feels that it's a stalemate that's been and it's going to continue. And what we all want is, I think what you want, which is a functioning committee.
Exactly.
And so we want the president to work with committee, we want the committee to work with the president, and we want it to all be in line with what our constitution is, and we want it to be in line with what, how whatever. Anyway, but just try and have good faith in it and just drop it all and move forward. I think that's what the room's asking for. Or at least that's what I would like.
It sounds great, and I really appreciate that as a concept. However, an email was sent to 1,600 members and was put all over Facebook with a list of things that were a stain on my character.
Okay.
Do you think that is an appropriate thing to do to someone who puts himself up as the head of an organisation?
I don't know, but it's probably what drew me here tonight.
It's pretty salacious, isn't it?
But as I said, trying to move forward from that, get a letter from the whole committee with your own name signed on it too, as saying, hey guys, this is how we're going to unite, this is how we're going to work together, this is us starting fresh. That is what I think, what I would like. I think that's what we want to do.
Yep.
And these people here brought a lot of proxies, so what you say, and assent is calling for us. Stop the fighting, and I've said to you before, Mike, you don't need to fight everyone. You just don't need to fight everyone.
I certainly don't need to fight 41% of the people voting.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
The question is, the
You're wanting to change the rules of the Constitution in this room tonight.
We want you to work together. Find a way to
I
work
know, it's
together.
lovely, Rich. It would be lovely. But if you had been attacked in the public domain like I have been defending myself, and I've been portrayed as the aggressor. This is degenerating into Facebook.
Does that go both ways to the committee that's
what
been
I was
on
gonna say.
Facebook for the last month?
Actually, who put up this list of complaints in a disciplinary procedure against me? Who did this at a meeting that did not invite me to, that had held a vote that did not invite me as the president of the organisation to vote upon? Who usurped my democratic rights?
Point
and
of
set
order,
up this thing
point
in
of
the first
order.
place?
The item on the agenda is business arising. With all due respect, this continued shit fight is not business arising. Have a conversation in the pub, outside on the street. This is not according to what's on the agenda for this evening's meeting. Sorry, folks. Wrap it up. Let's go home.
Right here.